Hello, this is Spacedraptor for Spacedraptor Gaming. We're playing Aliens Colonial Marines again. This is the Xbox 360 edition of the game this time, not the PC. And it's not modded, obviously, because it's on console. And I'm playing this for a reason. And I've got kind of three subjects I want to broach in one video. One of them is Aliens Colonial Marines really that bad? And I've chosen the Xbox 360 edition because this is kind of what it looked like on day one release on PC as well, not the version I was playing. So you can judge for yourself whether this game is actually that bad. Also, the other two subjects I want to broach is, should we trust corporate reviews of games? And I'll give a for instance there. And the other subject is, should we trust YouTubers' reviews, which should be the antidote to corporate reviews, but I'm kind of finding that that's not the case. So let's start with the game itself. Is it really that bad? Well, it's a linear on-rails shooter, but for anybody that's seen the James Cameron's Aliens film, you'll find that it's a very tight corridor, very kind of suspenseful Aliens film. It's action based. It was never meant to be the survival horror type experience of Ridley Scott's. It was always meant to be badass guns and we're gonna kick some alien butts. And that was celebrated at the time as being quite original and a different kind of sequel. And James Cameron could do no wrong. And he made a really good film. And this in the same respect, everybody was saying, oh, well, it should have been a survival horror experience, blah, blah, blah. But actually, anybody that's a fan of the films would understand that this wasn't ever gonna be this survival horror. It was always gonna be a shooter, because Aliens was a shooter. You know, the film was a shooter. It was an action-based film. So I think they got it spot on. There's obviously been a lot of love for the Aliens franchise put into this, a lot of faithful recreation of sounds, and you know, some of the original voice actors, like is it Michael Byrne? He's in this, you know, and they took a lot of what I would say they went that extra mile to do it right. Now, unfortunately, the game lacks polish, like it was rushed out. Now, I know it's been in development for 6 years, but it's kind of the game nobody was making. Gearbox wasn't making it because they were doing Borderlands, and Timegate were kind of working on it. In fact, Timegate did most of the work on this game. And they had a very different way of doing things to Gearbox. At first they were working very well in tandem with each other, and then it kind of got to a point where, you know, there was some disagreements happening about the direction of this particular game. So it was very up in the air. I don't think it was scripted very well, although the voice acting is very good. I don't think the script is the best I've ever come across. So it's had its problems, and it was always doomed to fail, unfortunately, as being this 10 out of 10 shooter that would change your life. It was never going to be that. It was always going to be somewhere in the region of competence, and that's what we've got. We've got a really competent shooter that genuinely does try to do different things. One of the different things I'm seeing in this game is the kind of RPG, kind of level up kind of system to it, and the way you can like alter your loadouts, very much like multiplayer in Call of Duty, I would say. But you can do this in the campaign mode, which you can't do that in the Call of Duty campaign. Well, I've not played Advanced Warfare, so correct me if I'm wrong there. For every Call of Duty I've ever played, there's no leveling up system there. So they've kind of done something different for me. As in, they try to make the campaign experience run off the same rules as the multiplayer experience, and they've got to be commended for that. the other thing they've got to be commended for is there's some really good level design in this game. Really good level design. And I think they faithfully recreate Hadley's Hope very, very well. Although some of the graphics are, I'd say, ropey. It's more textures that are ropey and the sheer lack of polish there. But I wouldn't say the graphics are bad either. You know what I mean? So, you know, I think level design is very, very good. It's given me some memorable moments. And, you know, it's tried to do something new with this leveling up RPG system. And, you know, there's even a stealth element. There's a stealth mission in this, which I thought was really, really good as well. You know what I mean? Not groundbreaking. There are other first-person shooters with stealth elements, but at least they tried to do something different with the Aliens franchise and show you an alien that's never been seen before. There's a couple of aliens in this that have never been seen before. So that's from their own imagination, and they've got to be commended for that. You know, because it's very difficult to create. It's easy to pull something down, but it's difficult to create. And, you know, this game did, in all its entirety, was in production for 6 years. So I would expect it to have a little bit more polish for the amount of time it was in production. But, hey, you know, it had its problems over them 6 years. So I can kind of forgive it for that. Now, the other subject I want to broach is IGN give this a 4.5 out of 10, saying it's a bad game. Okay, IGN, I respect you have an opinion, and it may differ to my opinion, but here's something else. I did buy a bad game, Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball. I remember it distinctly. All the reviewers were saying, oh, 9.2 out of 10. I think even IGN give this a 9.2 out of 10 at the time on the original Xbox. And it was pants gameplay wise. Now, I kind of bought it because I'm a fan of the Dead or Alive fighting game franchise. I've got nearly... I don't own 4, and I did own 5, but I own the rest of the games. I love that as a fighting game franchise, part of the fighting game franchises, and I also like the Soul Calibur 2. I've not been very much struck on the rest of the Soul Calibur games, but I thought 2 was an excellent game. But we're getting off topic. So Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball, to me, is at best is a collection of mini games that weren't really well thought out in the first place, and there's very little in the way of gameplay there. In fact, most of the gameplay mechanic revolves around you're a girl and you've got to try and get other girls to like you to even get a game of volleyball in it. And I kind of thought it missed the point of its title. I would have suggested that this would have been a solid beach volleyball game, and it wasn't. But it got a 9.2 out of 10. This is my kind of point to it. It got an amazing review, and it was a lackluster game at best. And I would give that a 4.5. This is a solid shooter with a few problems, but it's a solid, enjoyable shooter. And it doesn't deserve the rating it got. Now, the other point I've got here is, why do YouTubers just come across with the same opinions, basically word for word nearly, as the corporate? This is our chance to show corporate that we can have our own opinions. And basically, YouTubers are now, because they want viewers and they want to sensationalize something, they will give exactly the same opinion as the corporate review does. Now, there are a few YouTubers out there, and I'm going to name a couple. Not name and shame, but name and show them as different out there. They will give their honest opinion on a game. Now, one of them is Games-O-Matic. He's got a small channel, and he gives his very honest opinion. He's like a retro games reviewer, and he's really, really good. He gives his honest opinion. I always enjoy his reviews. Lord Carnage. Now he's one of the oldest. I don't mean that as in he's old, but he's been on YouTube the longest, let's put it that way. And he is the original antidote to the corporate review. And I kind of get that from him. He gives his honest opinion on a game, and he tries to review absolutely everything. New games, old games. I know it's called Classic Game Room, but if you want an honest opinion on a game, go to his site. You know, or go to Games-O-Matic. They will give honest opinions on the games, irrespective of how many subscribers they've got, or you know, their reasons for getting into YouTube wasn't subscribers and money. It was more because they believe in the philosophy of gaming. They enjoy gaming so much, just like myself, that they wanted to put kind of programming out there because they're creative minds as well. And I think that's right. I think that's what YouTube should be about. Unfortunately, 95% of people out there are just, you know, they're jumping on the gaming bandwagon because they want to make money, because they've seen PewDiePie do it. And I think that's wrong. If you're a gamer, you're a gamer, and just review and put whatever gameplay out there you want to. I don't put just new games out there. I just put games out that I'm enjoying at the time, and I kind of do videos on that. And I don't always do the full playthrough. I just give you a sample of playthrough. Anyway, I've ranted enough. This is me signing out. I've been playing this on Ultimate Badass. So this is Spacedraptor signing out as the Ultimate Badass. See you soon.